met Bob. I met Bob just this Saturday, and he said, I told him why I was in Pinal County or why I was in Casa Grande, and he said, you've got to come to this meeting. And I said, great. He sent me the invite, so that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Sorry, my thing is the names keep going back and forth. I'm trying not to miss anybody. Natalie, I think I have you next.
Good morning, I'm Natalie Jones. I'm with the Vulnerable Persons Unit at the Pinal County Superior Court. I got involved with this organization because when I came into this position, not only was this position brand new for me, but the county was brand new for me as well. So as we were trying to navigate through what this unit was going to look like, I was trying to make as many connections as possible and find out what resources were available. I also want to go back to Bob's original proposition and just defend the sunflowers, because I would have picked Field of Sunflowers, not a beach person.
So just to fill in the rest of you, while we were just sort of killing time early in the meeting, Bob said he did one of these and he asked people their choice. Would you rather spend a day on the beach or have a beautiful picnic among sunflowers? And then I jokingly said, was there anybody that actually chose sunflowers? And Bob said not a soul. So that's why Natalie is defending those who enjoy picnics and sunflowers.
And I just want to add, just for full disclosure, and my wife has one on her desk as well, not of her.
Bob, there's nothing wrong with sunflowers. It's just not the beach.
But I also said we'd prefer the beach.
Sarah Graham.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Graham. I'm an outreach worker with Oxford House in Southern Arizona. I was stationed in Tucson, and I knew absolutely nothing about networking or community coalitions or working in substance abuse. I didn't know anything. And I just started popping on meetings because I was hired during COVID, and the Pinal County Wellness Coalition and the Casa Grande Alliance have been so welcoming and so supportive. And I'm just absolutely delighted at how committed everybody is to improving the lives of people in this county and just all over Southern Arizona. So these meetings have very much helped me start to find my own path in life, my own vocation, I guess. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm just delighted to be a part of all of this.
We're glad you found us, Sarah. Shelley Verley. All right, we'll check back with Shelley here in a little bit. Sierra.
I'm Sierra. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for CAFA. That's the Community Alliance Against Family Abuse. We're located over in Apache Junction, and we do serve all of Pinal County, families, children, men and women who are victims or survivors of domestic violence. CAFA itself has been its own entity. However, on July 1st, a New Leaf merged with CAFA. So now CAFA is under the A New Leaf umbrella. And A New Leaf has programs all over Maricopa County. Specifically for the CAFA program, we have a shelter, we have an outreach team with domestic violence advocates, legal advocates, sexual violence services, and we also do food boxes out of our administrative office. So we're happy to have merged with A New Leaf and start connecting more with Pinal County.
Sierra, we're glad to have you. I think the couple executive directors ago, I once did a presentation and would periodically attend. So we're glad to have you back in the fold.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Kate Maluski.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Maluski. I'm a public defender with Pinal County. I'm sorry I joined late, but from what I could glean, it sounds like we are discussing why we joined
Perfect.
this group. I've been, I was appointed a public defender probably about a year ago. It's still sort of a learning curve for me, but I was invited to join this meeting. And I'm always grateful to learn and be exposed to all the other great community partners which are a part of this group. And so it's really all I have. I'm sorry I came in late, so I'm feeling inept in terms of what I'm supposed to be telling you.
Kate, that is spot on. Ed, down in the chat box, you'd ask if everybody would share. Obviously, everybody's free to share their contact information, but I cannot type for the life of me. There's probably some more typos, but Bob does try to do a follow-up of the meeting that has everybody that attended and their email address. So there'll be a hard copy of that. I mean, obviously everyone's free to share there, but just so we all know that that does normally come out. Shelley, I think I saw.
Eventually.
Shelley, it looks like you came off of mute. Are you with us?
Sorry, I was driving and I was trying to find that place on my phone where I could unmute. Typically, I apologize. So I became aware of this council when I was still an educator. I was like, I guess you would say I was part of the education sector on the previous coalition in Apache Junction. Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Shelley Verley and I'm with Stand Up AJ, which is a substance abuse prevention coalition in Apache Junction. I inherited the previous coalition and was coming to the meetings, and then my grandson was born and he had a lot of needs, so I retired from education in order to be his full-time babysitter so that my kids can keep working. And he's now 3.5, so I just dropped him off at preschool. So we've come a long ways, and now we're on Zoom, so I'm just really thrilled to be able to be a part of this again.
We appreciate you being here. Is there anybody that I missed? Okay, not seeing anybody. I just want to, we did do a fairly robust survey that Bob sent out, and there was a decent response rate. I want to say we got in the teens, and we asked a number of questions, including introductions and various things. I know it took us almost 30 minutes to do introductions, but the consensus of the people that responded were that this is beneficial, because sometimes we're not sure who's with who. And again, it gets to know each other, breaks the ice a little bit. So I know it takes a lot of time, but I think knowing who's a part of this is a valuable thing. So our intention is to continue with the sort of brief introductions. We always try and do something fun. You know, Sarah had to kill the mood today and make us do real serious. Obviously I'm teasing you, Sarah, but it's just, we're going to continue it. And I appreciate everybody, but we will try and move through everything, you know, within reason. Our next agenda item is actually a presentation by Maribel with Habitat for Humanity. She introduced herself. So Maribel, why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization, how we can get involved with you, and what your plans are. And if you could tell us what your plans are for Pinal County, we would love to hear that, because we're all very interested in our community.
You can. So as I mentioned in my introduction, I stumbled across Bob, not by coincidence. I think I was meant to meet Bob, because now I'm meeting all of you. So Habitat for Humanity Central Arizona, we have been in the Valley for over 35 years. We serve Maricopa County and Pinal County. We've built many homes in Apache Junction. We've done a few in Coolidge, a few in Casa Grande and Arizona City. And what took me to Casa Grande over the weekend was an effort to outreach to identify families in need of housing, specifically in Arizona City. We have a coalition of faith-based coalition here that supports Habitat. And so the First Presbyterian Church allowed us to come there and use their facilities and invite members of their congregation to hear about Habitat and learn about Habitat and what we do and what we're planning to do here in the upcoming year. And so unfortunately, that outreach didn't go quite as planned. So luckily we had a backup plan. We started to reach out to organizations on a Saturday morning, and Bob was the lucky winner. He picked up the phone and said, hey, I'm here. I'm not supposed to be here, but come on over. Be more than happy to chat with you a little bit more. So hence why I'm here today. What Habitat, if you're not familiar with Habitat, we are a nonprofit affordable home builder. We build and renovate homes. We have also added resources where we provide affordable home repairs to homeowners within Maricopa County and Pinal County as well. We have services that help veterans. We have services that help individuals over the age of 65. We understand that it is not reasonable these days for people to move out of their homes because they can't access the home. So therefore, it makes sense to repair the home so that people can safely shelter in place. So those are just different services that we provide, but specifically for Pinal County, what brought me out there over the weekend was to get the word out about some homes that we're going to be building specifically in the city. We hope to be able to identify 1 to 2 families to get started with the construction of a new home, 3 or 4 bedroom home in Arizona City. So Habitat, what we do is we serve the 80% of area median income or below. So specifically for Arizona City, we've done sort of some value assessments of what we believe that home to be valued at. And what we've determined, sorry about that, what we've determined is that based on cost of the market or what the market's doing, the average cost for a home in Arizona City is about $240,000. Now, about 2 years ago, we built a house out there and the home appraised for about 120. So when you think about what the market has done, I mean, it's on the news every day that, you know, it's just not within reach for someone who's just earning minimum wage. Luckily for us, Habitat is not only a construction company that builds homes, we're also the bank. So Habitat actually finances the loan. And we do that by financing it at a 0% interest rate. So we do have families that are required to pay the traditional closing costs, but they finance a mortgage with Habitat at a 0 rate. The average mortgage payment right now for a Habitat homeowner is sitting at about $900. And when you think about $900 to buy a home in today's market versus, you know, the average cost to rent a home right now is about $1,300 to $1,400 a month. You know, it's sort of a sweet deal. Now with Habitat, there is obviously requirements that come with that. So we have 3 guidelines that we follow. The family has to have the ability to pay, so they do have to have income. Unlike traditional banks, you have to have income, consistent income for 2 years. Most times has to be in the same type of line of work. For Habitat, what we do is we look at income and we have to determine that it's stable, meaning that it has been consistent for 2 years. Now, what the source of income, it doesn't have to be the same type of line of work. So I'll give you an example. If I have a family of 4, right? So a family of 4, maximum income allowed is $63,200. That puts them at 80%. But let's say the wife is employed full-time. She's a home care. She provides home health care. And then let's say the spouse receives Social Security, right? So combining their income together, as long as it doesn't exceed $63,200 for the year, would make them eligible. Other incomes such as child support, spousal support, those kind of other incomes can also be used so long as we can anticipate that income is going to continue for 3 years or more. So when regards to income, it doesn't have to be just employment income is my point. It can be a variety of income. pensions, Social Security, SSI, child support. We've seen it all. So again, just combined household income is what we use to determine eligibility. In addition to the ability to pay, we're also looking at credit, but we're looking at it very different than traditional financing. And we don't use a credit score. We do look at what's on the credit report. If there has been any derogatory credit, my staff and I are credit counselors certified, so we do provide credit counseling services in order to help people overcome those credit obstacles. So that falls under the ability to pay. And then we have the willingness to partner, which is the sweat equity component. And that basically means that the family has to be willing to partake in the sweat equity program, which basically means that they're going to work alongside with us to build the home, right? And then they're going to attend homebuyer education classes, financial education classes. And although that's not necessarily a monetary down payment for them, it is their down payment. So where traditional banking or financing, families would have to come in with a monetary down payment and then of course closing costs, Habitat is basically asking for their time. With a traditional construction, it takes about 16 to 20 weeks to build a home. So for the homes that we're hoping to start in January, families can expect to move in sometime late in spring, so May or June. But it is a journey, is what we call it. It's not apply today, move in tomorrow. We do provide case management support throughout the entire journey. And then of course they have to have a need. Right now with the way that the market is sort of taken off and has been, I can almost say a lot of people have a need. So most people who are paying more than 30% of their monthly gross income, that's definitely a need. So what Habitat does is we adopt the industry standard. So no more than 30% should be paid for housing. And then of course, you know, maybe they're not living in the best area. Maybe they're living in transitional housing and they can't stay there forever. So there's lots of ways to define the need that a family has. But so long as they meet those three criteria, it would make them a candidate or eligible for our program. And then of course, the willingness to partner again, taking the journey with Habitat. The two homes that we anticipate building starting January in Arizona City will either be 2 or 3 bedrooms that will be determined based on the household size. Habitat homes are energy efficient. They come fully equipped with an appliance packet, garage, 2 bath, front yard, backyard. The term of the loans vary based on the affordability of the family. So we're not your cookie cutter financing where everybody gets a 30-year mortgage. Some cases you have people with a 15-year mortgage, 20-year mortgage, 22 years and 6 months mortgage. It really does depend on the affordability of that particular applicant. So that's for Arizona City, but we do have other properties. We have properties in Eloy, we have properties in Coolidge. So we do expect to build additional homes in Pinal County. And then of course, we're always looking for land to be able to build. The price of land right now, just raw dirt, at last checked, at least here in Phoenix, no infrastructure, just dirt was about 120,000. So it's hard to make that affordable when you're talking to families that have to average about $20 a month. I'm sorry, $20 an hour in order to be able to qualify. So the good thing with Habitat is that it's household income. It's not just the applicant and co-applicant that have to be able to amount to that average income that's needed in order to participate in the program. We're one of 12 habitats in the state. So you'll also find habitats in Yuma, in Tucson, Verde Valley. So we're all across the state of Arizona, but nationwide, there's about 1,300 habitats, and then worldwide, there's another 300 outside of the US. So, I mean, we've been around, like I said, our affiliate specifically for 35 years. What is the need that we currently have? Well, we have a need for families, for qualified families. And again, while we were out there on Saturday, when we were doing some attempting to outreach to some families, we met Bob. He said, come to this meeting, get the word out. I'm sure that there's individuals that are partaking in this particular alliance that might be able to help get the word out. So in order to apply for the program, what you're seeing on the screen right now, or what you were seeing, was specifically the flyer that we left Bob. But if you have anyone who's interested, there is a pre-screening form that the applicants will need to fill out and submit that. I left some paper questionnaires with Bob. However, I mean, I can definitely email that out as well. But if you go to our website, which is habitatcaz.org, again, that's habitatcaz.org, and you go under the homeownership tab, there is an apply now button or apply here button, which is basically a duplicate or a mirror image of what you're seeing on the screen right now. Just basically have your applicants fill out that they're interested in Arizona City. There's a drop-down box. And I know the intent today is to get the word out to see if anyone's interested in Arizona City. However, there are any families that perhaps are interested in living in any other part of Maricopa County or Pinal County, they can also select that as a drop-down box. We build in Glendale, we build obviously Phoenix, Tempe, Peoria, Surprise. So we're constantly building. Habitat averages about 25 builds a year. They're fully sponsored by lots of groups, lots of businesses, lots of organizations, lots of faith-based partners. So again, we average about 25 a year. The goal of the organization is to serve 1,000 families in a year through all of our programs. At last checked, we're at about 700. So we have a pretty aggressive goal. And I think with the way that the market is right now, specifically for the homeownership, I think this is an opportunity for us, Habitat, to be able to help provide a solution for those who are seeking not only housing, but permanent housing. And I would just encourage you to take this information, talk with those that you serve, and see if there's anyone who's interested or close to being interested, because again, we are hoping to break ground on one house in January, and then once we have started that one, then we'll work to identify the start date for the second property. And then in the next 2 to 3 years, like I said, we do have other property in Pinal County that we're hoping to be able to identify families and break ground there. We had reached out to USDA to assist with identifying families. We've partnered with Pinal County Housing. We were able to do 4 or 5 houses with them a few years ago. So anyways, thank you so much for allowing me to come here. I look forward to partaking in these monthly meetings, or however often they're hosted. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. If you need us to come to your organizations and specifically provide presentations, we're more than happy to do that. You just let me know dates and times, we can work that out. But you know, I believe that although no one showed up for our presentation on Thursday and Saturday of this last week, the fact that I was able to meet one person, Bob, and now I know many, many more people, it was just a blessing for me personally. So again, thank you for your time, and I really do appreciate it.
Maribel, we appreciate it. This is Kent. I say this with absolutely no shame whatsoever, but we're a greedy group. Sarah Graham can attest. Once we get our tentacles in you, we want to figure out how we can continue to grow and to help you and assist as a community. You said you have properties in Eloy, you have properties in Coolidge. Is there anything that we can do collectively as a group to convince your larger organization that this is the place that they should be making those investments? Because housing is a major need for us, and it's not going away. Our population goes up much faster than our housing goes up. So is there anything that we collectively can do to assist you in convincing your team that, you know, Eloy should be the next place or Coolidge should be the next place, and to make sure that those resources get allocated down here and maybe away from Maricopa County a little bit?
Well, I can tell you that is music to my ears, Kent. We often are looking for large parcels to build communities. We'll do the infills here and there, and that's fine and great. But I can tell you that our president and CEO, he has a bigger vision, right? His vision is to build large communities, large subdivisions. When our affiliate first started 35 years ago, we built 195 home subdivision on, if you're familiar with the Valley here in Phoenix, on 16th Street and Southern, we built 197 homes. That's what his goal is, to build those types of communities. However, the cost of land is expensive. So if you have or know of anyone who is generously wanting to donate properties, the properties that we have had in Pinal County have really come to us in different ways. The property specifically that we're going to be building these 2 homes in Arizona City, though they were donated to us through an estate plan. The homes that we did in Coolidge were part of the NSP program a few years ago when we partnered with Pinal County Housing. We did 2 renovations there in Casa Grande. So it's the land piece that we really need help with. And then of course, sponsors, right? So we can have land, but we also need sponsors to help sponsor the projects. We call it the sponsorship dollars, the bricks and sticks. So we would be more than happy to talk with anyone. I'm sure Jason, our president and CEO, would be more than happy to jump on a call, or we could make a drive down there or maybe he can even just come to the next meeting to talk about the need and the vision that he sees. But land is our #1 challenge because it's so expensive to acquire. And then by the time you buy the land, by the time you build the home, it's just not affordable, right? So I will definitely invite Jason to the next meeting, if that's okay with everyone, so that he can share sort of what his needs from an organizational perspective. I'm always very selfish because I'm speaking more from I need families, right? Because that's what my department is tasked to do, is to find the participants for the program. But I will definitely invite Jason to attend the next meeting so that he can give you sort of the bigger goal. And then of course he can share what the challenges are in effort to get there. But he would love nothing more but to be able to build more in Pinal County.
Love it. It looks like Melissa has a question or a comment.
Actually, I have 2 questions because that's what I'm famous for. The first one, hopefully, will be just a pretty quick question. Do you ever need additional labor from people who maybe aren't necessarily looking to have a house of their own? Like, for instance, I'm thinking of, we have people under probation supervision who have to perform community restitution. Most people know it as community service. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that partnering with your organization would be a good way for some of our folks to do some of those hours that they need to do.
Absolutely. So we have an entire volunteer services department dedicated to volunteers. We provide opportunities for community service. So yeah, definitely. I think, Melissa, what I can do is I can get you connected with Luz Aguilar. She's the director of volunteer services. And she'd be more than happy to speak with you a little bit more about exactly what that entails, and then sort of point you in the right direction.
That would be fantastic.
Hey, Maribel, we'll give you about 2 more minutes and then we need to push on.
Okay.
And you're good. You're good.
All right,
And I don't want to hog you because I see that Joanne has a question or two also. One of the things that we frequently hear is needed here in Pinal County is housing. And so the rule regarding having to have 2 years of stable income for a family, I'm wondering how set in stone that is, and whether at some point there might be the opportunity for discussion about how maybe we could build a Habitat for Humanity house that could become transitional housing that wouldn't necessarily be the same as sober living.
Right, so I'm glad you brought that up because we are also exploring those options. Actually, we are partnering with US Vets here in the Valley, where we had 2 properties and they are becoming transitional homes. So we would, again, Jason would definitely consider that because we know that it's not just about permanent housing, it's just housing in general, right? So we can talk a little bit more, Melissa, and then I can get you in touch with the individuals that I believe might be the better resource for you to talk specifically about that.
Thank you so much. That's super duper exciting.
You're welcome. Thank you. Joanne, you have 1 or 2 questions?
Yes, my first question is that there's I sit on the Pinal County Coalition to End Homelessness, and there's a lot of funding coming down from the federal government from the CARES Act to look at rehabbing houses in Pinal County. And I think Heather Patel is the one that's in charge of that. And have you connected with her? Because I think that, you know, a collaboration between the 2 of you and the homeless coalitions that are doing phenomenal work here in Pinal County, which I think this group here should highlight one day in their meeting, that they really, I think it would be a great partnership. They have the funding, you guys have the resources, you can coordinate the volunteers. So if we can connect you to Heather Patel, I think that would be like an excellent collaboration between you 2.
Yeah, actually, Joanne, when I first started almost 14 years ago, I met Heather Patel when she was in Apache Junction, and her and I remain in constant communication. And it was because of her efforts that we were able to build the 18 homes in Apache Junction and continue to do so. So definitely I can reach out to Heather Patel. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. My second question is, I have my secret obsession has been with restores, and the restores, especially in the Maricopa County area and stuff. And how beneficial is it because I refer people all the time. I refer people that are doing housing renovations, to people, especially a lot of friends that I have that are project managers, property managers that, you know, have to go in after someone moves out and restore a house and stuff. How much benefit is, you know, the restores giving to the whole overall Habitat for Humanity project? Am I like doing a good thing, or is it just?
Well, we appreciate you sending folks over to our restore. Our restore is actually the way that covers the Habitat overhead cost. So every dollar that's donated to Habitat goes to the mission. So the money generated through the restores is to cover overhead. So whether it's going to the mission or it's covering overhead, I thank you for sending folks over to the restore. If anyone's not familiar with the restore, it's basically a miniature home improvement store. You pay no taxes. It's always a treasure. When you find something, make sure you buy it because it's probably not going to be there the next time you go. We, to Joanne's point, we do deconstruct a lot of homes, and we take those items and we sell them in the restore to generate overhead costs. So continue to send people, Joanne. I know that a few years ago there was some talk about building a Habitat restore in Pinal County. That's something that maybe we can broach a conversation with Jason again about. But definitely please send people over. I can send some information to Bob so he can get the basic information out. I think I ran out of time, Bob. Thank you, Jack.
That would be great. Yes, then I'll keep referring and I'll keep sending people.
Thank you.
Well, Maribel, I appreciate the information you shared. Obviously, it garnered a lot of interest, and please, you, Jason, your team is always welcome to continue being a part of these meetings. I will let you know we actually do have a committee that we're going to move into here shortly